Hello and welcome, everybody. Big Three Sports Talk Show back at you. Nate Martin, Ion Shaw, and I'm Kieran Costa. It is a great week in sports coming up. Coming up this week, the Euros, they start tomorrow. The World Test Championship, which is the two best cricketing sides in the world over the last 2 years. That's India versus New Zealand. That's coming up next week. We'll talk about that then. But this week is all about the Euros. But let's start with our two favorite segments. Nate, what do you have?
Player of the week, and this is just really an excuse for me to talk about the Nations League, the CONCACAF Nations League final between U.S. and Mexico. Player of the week is going to be Ethan Horvath. Started the game on the bench as the backup goalie, but in the 65th minute around then when Zach Steffen went down after an egregious and offensive play from the Mexican players, he gets down out with an injury, so they have to sub on the backup goalie, and Horvath, first opportunity he gets, he lets in a goal. Really disappointing, right? But, U.S. come back and score 3 minutes later, and they go into extra time. U.S. is up 3-2 after a Pulisic penalty, and after a controversial VAR call, the ref sends Mexico to the penalty spot, and Ethan Horvath makes the save of the century to win the U.S. men's team their first trophy in quite a while.
And the save of the century, where there was 3 World Cups.
Don't worry. It was an exaggeration, but it means a lot to the U.S. men's team because this is a great way to build momentum for World Cup qualifiers and the Gold Cup. They're looking to win in America again. Gold Cup starts in a couple weeks. And obviously they're looking to do very well in Qatar. This is a very young team that has looked really well looked really good against all the teams in CONCACAF as they won the tournament and just blew out Costa Rica 4-0 yesterday. So please keep an eye out for the U.S. men's team. They're going to have a great next couple years. Ion, over to you for this day in sports history.
This day in sports history, June 10th, 1984. We go all the way back. Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics beat the Lakers in 1984 to win the NBA Finals that year. Pretty crazy. Larry Bird definitely was criminally underrated for quite a while when it comes to talking about the top small forwards of all time, nowadays at least. Because we have LeBron James now and Kevin Durant, all those great scorers. But I mean, Larry Bird, if you just hear the stories about him, legendary trash talker, confidence that was unrivaled by any player to exist, in my opinion.
And one of the a really underrated three-point shooter. He was one of the guys that really brought three-point shooting into the NBA repertoire, influencing guys like Reggie Miller and Ray Allen. So it's good to see Larry Bird, a great advancer of the game. But let's go right into our main segment. We are going to be predicting the Euros here. And let's just get right into it. Group A, I think this is pretty easy for one. But
Italy takes the first spot.
2, 3, and 4 is super interesting for me. Kieran, you got any ideas of what we should do here?
Turkey's a good young team.
I really like Turkey personally, and I know Ion likes them a lot.
Maybe for a 3 spot.
I think Turkey's 2 because
I put them in 2.
I think Turkey's a good 2 because they have guys like Burak Yilmaz, who was just the top goal scorer for the Ligue 1 champions in Lille. And they also have other guys from that Lille team in Yazici and Celik, the right back. So they've played really well. A lot of their players playing really well in Europe right now. So I think Turkey's gonna have to be 2. And then 3 and 4 for me personally is a toss up. What are we thinking, Kieran?
I'd give it to Switzerland.
Switzerland is the 3.
I'm not sure if Gareth Bale can do it by himself.
Yeah, the Swiss got a good line of defense, so I think that's a fair pick. Defense wins championships, or at least gets you out of the group. We'll have to see.
Shaqiri, obviously in the midfield as one of their best players still.
Brian Bolo as well up front, solid option.
I think Switzerland takes the 3.
I think Group B is a pretty easy one.
Yeah.
Belgium 1, Denmark 2, Russia 3, and Finland 4. Belgium, like number one ranked team in FIFA right now. Denmark are also a top 10 team, and Russia had a really nice tournament in 2018 when they were hosting the World Cup. In Finland, this is their first international tournament in a long
They're just at the
time.
bottom right now.
Yeah, they're just at the bottom for us.
This one I think is also a pretty easy one, and then it gets complicated.
Yeah, I think Netherlands are a clear
Yeah.
one, and I would see them as a strong championship contender. If Van Dijk wasn't injured and they still had Ronald Koeman as the head coach. But I don't like their new head coach, De Boer. De Boer's been not a very good head coach for them, and losing out on Van Dijk is just brutal and extremely unfortunate. But then 2, 3, and 4 is super interesting because each teams have their own strengths and their own little magic, because North Macedonia qualifying for their first ever Euros had an incredible qualifying, winning in dramatic fashion to get sent in the extra places teams to get through to the Euros. And then obviously Austria and Ukraine, 2 pretty decent sides.
Nate, we talked about this before, and I know you want North Macedonia to be a top 3 team in this group.
Yeah. I think North Macedonia is going to pull out.
I think 3.
I think Ukraine is I don't think they're as good as North Macedonia and Austria.
I was gonna say Ukraine's the odd man out. Put them at 4.
Yeah, and personally, I think
I think Austria's too.
I think I'll give it to you. Is this good?
This should be fine. Yeah, North Macedonia, I put them in 3 because I think Austria should beat them. I think so. Yeah. Group D, England obviously goes at number 1.
Necessarily, I don't know if that's true. Croatia still
Harry Kane,
a lot of players, and England's known for letting down, but I do think England makes it out just off of
England does well in the group, and then they'll struggle late in the tournament.
Yeah, I think they make it out based off of goal difference because
Croatia I like easily second in the group, but I think yes, they made it to the finals of the World Cup, but their age is a bit.
Players, and
Modric has not looked close. He hasn't looked as good as we saw in the 2018 World Cup. He's aging a bit. Well, the whole team's a bit older. I think they'll have a tough time advancing when we get to the knockout rounds.
And then third, I'm thinking Scotland personally. I think Czechia plays a relatively boring brand of football that's not going to work against better teams. And Scotland, they're working well under the new manager, Andy Robertson, the best left back in the world, debatably. And they got a couple other good players, Scott McTominay in the middle. I like Scotland as a 3, and they're also playing at their home grounds and in Wembley, close to Scotland, obviously. So I'm going to be taking Scotland at 3, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, I agree.
That should be fine. Yeah.
All right, Group E. This is a super interesting one for me because normally I think Spain is the clear favorite, but recently they've had some COVID issues. They've had a couple players test positive for the corona, and they are out, and they have to have a shadow squad. I think they only have 17 players available right now, which I don't even know if that's enough to make up the full bench.
So you want to put them at 2?
I think they're going to go 1, but
okay.
They have some quality. I mean, someone who can, you obviously have Rodri who can fill in for, or someone, players that can fill in for Busquets in that role, who's one of the main players out with COVID.
Yeah.
I think
Spain 1. Sweden will take 2 pretty easily.
Yeah. And Poland usually disappoints in international tournaments.
Lewandowski will lead them to the 3 spot.
Yeah. They should go to the 3.
I think Slovakia is the odd man out here. Clearly.
Group F should be.
F is wild, man.
Group F is the.
Group F is going to be really good.
They stacked this.
Okay, so okay.
Hungary 4.
We can easily put 4 as Hungary. These 3, I say we go France at the 1.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree.
Portugal at the 2 because Ronaldo.
I agree.
Germany at the 3.
Germany has been on a downward path since the 2014 World Cup triumph. disappointing Euros in 2016 and an extremely disappointing World Cup.
The World Cup and when they lost to
Eliminated-
South Korea to not
Eliminated by South Korea, which is brutal. But I just want to say real quick, don't discredit Hungary just because they are the clear fourth place team here. They're still a really nice squad, and if they're in any other group,
and a very tough draw.
yeah, if they were in any other group, I could see them at least getting third place.
Yeah.
But it's really an unlucky draw for the Hungarians. And I think this is the order that I had as well. I'm glad we're all on the same page. So let's move on to the 4 best third place teams. Obviously, 24 teams. That's not enough for the full bracket. So we got to pick 4 here.
Germany, right?
Germany, because they're going to get results, I would say. And I would also
I like Switzerland here.
Yeah, I think Switzerland has it's not about who's the best teams, but it's about who gets the most points, right? So I think Switzerland is a good shout.
Who got third in the Netherlands group? The Netherlands group's pretty bad.
Yeah, Russia. And I think Russia's a good shout as well. But North Macedonia.
Yeah. Over Russia, yeah, I'd take North Macedonia.
Maybe and Russia.
But they're interchangeable. So yeah.
Because I don't think Poland's gonna get, but then Poland also is probably gonna get the win against Slovakia. That's the tough thing.
Switzerland won?
I don't think Switzerland's gonna win a game in the group though. I don't think Switzerland's gonna win a game.
What's their group again? Go back up.
They're playing against Turkey, Wales, and Italy.
They'll beat Wales.
I think they can draw against Wales. They could maybe beat them. I don't know if they could. I don't think they're gonna lose.
So you want to put Russia and North Macedonia in?
Because I think Russia can get a win again. Russia's gonna get a win against
Finland.
And then but maybe Switzerland can be the 4th one. So I think it's between Poland
and Switzerland.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly leaning Poland.
Yeah, me too.
Slovakia gets to win against Slovakia.
Yeah.
Struggling Slovakia.
Yeah, because I think Slovakia is the clear 4. I don't think Wales is a clear 4 in Group A, and I still think they're a quality team that could easily get 3rd.
Yeah.
So these are our 4 best third place teams: Russia, North Macedonia, Poland, and Germany. And the group stage as follows. Let's move on to the knockout stage. And already a heavyweight matchup in the round of 16. Belgium versus Germany as the first game in the round of 16. Who do we have?
We have Belgium. Belgium, baby.
I think that's the clear. If this was 6 years ago, this would not have been as clear, you know? If this was 2016 Euros, I think we'd all be Germany hard.
Belgium, although I wouldn't say they're going like up, they're getting old as well. Definitely above Germany.
And this is all their best players on the prime. KDB in his prime, Lukaku, Hazard, hoping to rebound his career.
Young, and they had the young Havertz.
No, Havertz plays for Germany.
Oh yeah.
Come on, you got to know that as a Chelsea fan. But they do have a great young player, a dark horse for best young player in Jeremy Doku, the Skilser, who currently plays for I believe in France. So keep an eye out on Jeremy Doku, the 19-year-old winger. Let's move on to the next game. Italy, clear winner.
Yeah, Italy.
Austria. I think these next couple ones
France wins.
But Croatia versus Sweden. This is an interesting one.
I want to see Sweden so bad.
I'd say Croatia.
Yeah, Croatia. They still have a lot of the key pieces. Modric, he can always pull something out of the hat, which sets up a 2018 final rematch.
Should be good.
That's going to be an easy one.
Okay, so Spain, North Macedonia.
It's going to be Spain, but
yeah.
Macedonia is going to make it closer.
If Spain gets this far, they would have resolved the health issues in the
Yes. Yeah.
This will be in a month.
Yeah.
Okay, England against Portugal. Is Ronaldo leaving early?
I think he's not going to. I think England is going to disappoint because.
But okay, so the main story here is Harry Kane against Cristiano Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking, let's go little by little. We zoom out then. So who would have the better performance out of the two in this game specifically?
I would say Ronaldo because he's gonna most likely
I would agree.
He's most likely going to be playing up front for Portugal and the week as the main number 9 player.
Both teams have a solid supporting cast as well, like Diego
Yeah.
Jota, Bruno Fernandes.
This is a very evenly. These are both very evenly matched teams.
Yeah, but the main concern is, I think Gareth Southgate is gonna dig himself a hole that he can't get out of. I think with Trent Alexander-Arnold being out for the tournament and him picking a lot of center backs and really loving guys like Connor Cody, which is just really unfortunate. He's going to be going out of. He's going to be playing players that maybe don't belong in the lineup. And Portugal, they've won the Euro. They are the defending Euros champions. Ronaldo having a great tour, having a great year in Juventus. And you obviously have players like Ruben Dias who stepped up for Portugal. You got João Felix, Bruno Fernandes, Diego Jota, a lot of quality players around Portugal, around Ronaldo. And I do like Portugal just off of Gareth Southgate being an idiot. I think that's fair to say, right? Are we agreeing on that?
I think Portugal wins on supporting cast, as we just talked about.
Yeah, the supporting cast would be able to beat out England's supporting cast.
And I think Portugal's weaknesses are less clear than England's, because England's gaping hole is goalkeeper and center back.
Yeah.
And which is just not ideal for a team who's going.
Isn't Pickford the keeper?
Pickford isn't great. He's injury riled season, and he's been pretty disappointing over the last season with Everton, especially in the second half of the year. Netherlands versus Poland. Who do we have here?
Netherlands win.
Netherlands wins this one.
Poland barely snuck in.
And then Turkey versus Denmark. Two of the most interesting teams in the tournament for me. Who do we have?
Denmark. I would say Denmark. I really like Kasper Schmeichel in goal. Of course, they have a good offense as well, but I believe in Denmark just a lot more than I believe in Turkey.
I'm gonna take Turkey. They have one of the best young players out here, and I have picked them as my surprise team. But besides that, they are still a very solid team. I think it could be an upset here.
Yeah, I'm taking Denmark though. Kasper Schmeichel, one of the most underrated keepers in the world. And Andreas Christensen leading the back line, coming off of a Champions League final appearance where he filled in for the injured Thiago Silva. And then you still have guys like Christian Eriksen.
Champions League victory, not just appearance.
Thank you for correcting me on that. But you also have guys like Christian Eriksen, who was a key player in Inter Milan's triumph in the Serie A. And a decent front three with guys like Kasper Dolberg.
Denmark then, but I don't really see either of these teams beating the Netherlands.
I could see Denmark doing it, but we'll get back down to that later on. Up to the quarterfinals, and in my opinion, this is going to be one of the best games of the tournament here. Belgium versus Italy. This is going to be a phenomenal game. Who do we have?
Belgium, and I'm going to stick with Belgium. Kevin De Bruyne, the only tiny knock on him is he's coming off the injury. Him and Antonio Rudiger collided in the Champions League final. He broke his nose, but he will be fully healthy by this point. Romelu Lukaku, it's just a great team. I think Belgium, of course, they won third place at the World Cup. All these players are in their prime, as Nate said earlier. I like Belgium over Italy here.
Belgium has talent. They have striker Lukaku after all, but Italy has been playing really, really good lately. They're undefeated in 27 matches. They've won 4 consecutive matches by a combined score of 12-0. And overall, they're a very efficient team. The squad's been running very efficiently there. So
and that's all because of Roberto Mancini, the new coach after Italy failed to qualify for the 2018 tournament. He's called up 60 players to the national team. He's used 60 different players over these last 3 years in qualifying and friendlies. And he has done a phenomenal job, added some class to the Italian side. Jerome Mobley, a great front player, Insigne as well. And there's just they still got guys like Chiellini in the back.
So they're very strong, but the only potential issue that I see right now could just be from their goalkeeper. However, I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. He's just 22. This is his first major tournament.
Donnarumma, but he's got a lot of experience. Donnarumma. He's the best young keeper in the world, and he's a great player for Italy.
And I'm sure he's hungry to show that he's deserving of a contract of some sort. So I think that they could beat out Belgium in an upset. When Belgium is still, in terms of odds, they're still doing better than Italy so far, and they're still a very solid, very aggressive squad. But in this one, I'm going to be taking Italy.
And 2-1, Italy beats Belgium. It's gonna be a close game though, and this is gonna be one to watch, in my opinion. France versus Croatia.
France wins easily. They're better than they were when they beat them 2 years ago.
Spain versus Portugal. Rivalry game. I'm taking Portugal.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Portugal too.
If Portugal gets this far, they're gonna keep winning.
Yeah,
that's true.
And then Netherlands versus Denmark. Who do we have here? I'm taking the Danes. I'm taking Denmark. I really like this team. I think they're my Cinderella story.
I'm taking Netherlands. I'm just gonna go with the top dog here.
I'm going with the Netherlands. I don't
like this. I don't like that.
I'm a big fan of Memphis Depay leading the attack.
I'm not a big fan of them not having Van Dijk and their head coach. Their head coach has done some bad things in that squad. But Netherlands to the semifinals for us, and then Italy versus France. Another great game, Italy versus France. But I think we're all taking France, right?
We're all taking France.
They're clearly the best team in the tournament just off of talent alone, and they've gotten the results. So if France beats Italy, Portugal versus Netherlands, what are we thinking?
I don't really like either of these teams making the final.
I like Portugal.
But it has to be Portugal if it gets this far.
I say it gets Portugal as well.
Yeah. Past like the first knockout on the round of 16, Portugal has a really favorable draw, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna play someone like Spain and then in the quarterfinals, and they're gonna play someone either like Denmark or the Netherlands, which is another favorable draw. And I think it's gonna be Portugal.
I agree. We all agree on this one.
So with that, our finals for the Big Three Euro tournament is France versus Portugal. The rematch of 2016, France the world champions, Portugal the champions of Europe. And who's going to take away the 2020 Euro crown?
France wins 3-1.
Portugal wins it 4-3.
This is going to be one for the ages, and I'm taking France. I think Didier Deschamps has done a great job. With that being said, France is our 2020 Euro winners. Congratulations to them. Let's move on to some just more singular predictions for the tournament with best player, top goal scorer, best young player, and our surprise team. Starting out with best player. Kieran, who do you have?
My best player is going to be N'Golo Kanté, the midfielder for France. We saw him win man of the match in the UEFA Champions League final. He is playing arguably the best soccer of his career right now, which is shocking. I think he's the leader of the France team on and off the field. I think it's Kanté pretty easily.
Ion?
This is for best player, correct?
Best
Sorry,
player.
you guys
Yep.
lagged out for a sec.
Yeah.
I'm taking Mbappe. He's extremely aggressive. He's a very fast-paced player. I think he can take it over others like Kane or Kanté. And you know, he's also an extremely good goal scorer. And I'll get back to that point in a moment, but I think here he's going to beat out Kanté and Kane, and I think he'll clutch it just by a little bit.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think it's going to go. I think it's going to go to Kanté, but I just want to talk about one other player here, Cristiano Ronaldo. He's back for redemption after a disappointing World Cup, and I think he's going to play really, really well because you know that's what he does. He plays well in the big games, and he's going to do that here in the Euro 2020s. Top goal scorer, I'm taking a Belgium, even though I have him getting eliminated in the quarterfinals just based off of the group. It's a very easy group for the Belgians, and I'm taking Romelu Lukaku to win the Golden Boot. He's had an insane season for Inter, one of the best years of his career, and he's the clear and obvious goal-scoring threat for the Belgians, who, even if they get eliminated in the quarterfinals, have very favorable draws in the group stage and the opening rounds. So I'm taking Lukaku.
I'm gonna take Harry Kane. We had them losing to Portugal in the round of 16, but that's still a little bit of an upset. If him and his England squad can get past them, we talked about how they have an easy path with Spain and the Netherlands. If they can somehow get past that mark, also a pretty easy group for the English. Harry Kane, the leading goal scorer on that team, not really sharing goals with anybody. I like Harry Kane to get the most goals in this tournament.
Ion?
I'm going to be taking Kylian Mbappe. As I said before, he is extremely aggressive, hot feet. His fast feet will get him the most goals. I believe so.
His pace. All right. Best young player. Ion, who do you have?
I'm going to take Burak Yilmaz here. He ticks all the boxes, you know? He's been fantastic for Turkey so far. Turkey is also my surprise team I'll talk about here. We can edit this out. I'll edit this out. Shit, I misread. I'm sorry. I'll we'll stitch it. We'll stitch it.
Okay.
I fucked it up. Sorry, Jude Bellingham. There was something wrong, bro.
Yeah. Okay. You start going in 3, 2, 1.
My best young player, I'm going to be taking Jude Bellingham. He's only 17. He ticks all the boxes. This is a guy who's won a cup in Germany. He's been fantastic for Dortmund. He fully deserves to be in the English squad. And I do think that he will be taking best young player.
Yeah, it definitely helps with Jordan Henderson being out for the tournament. He's definitely going to be looking. I think Southgate is going to be looking at him to be one of his players that fill in that holding defensive mid position, which he likes to use. Kieran, who's your best young player?
I'm going to go with Ryan Gravenberch from the Netherlands. He's just 19 years old, a midfielder. He plays for Ajax. He stands 6'3" for a midfielder. And I mean, I like him. He can play defensively, can score goals. It's a Netherlands team that we have going deep into the tournament, actually, to the semifinals, especially if his team goes deep. This will look very good for him. And again, only 19 years old. I see a bright future for this guy.
I'm going to be taking Federico Chiesa, the Italian winger who plays for Juve. He won a trophy with them, with the Coppa Italia, the Coppa Nazionale. And he's going to be playing. He plays a big role in Roberto Mancini's squad out on the right flank. So look at him to get some goals cutting in or crossing the ball. He's super pacey and very gifted with his feet. I'm going to be taking Federico Chiesa, the Italian winger. And then finally, our surprise team of the tournament. I'm taking the Danes. I have them going to the semifinals in my own bracket. They got a strong midfield led by Christian Eriksen and a good goalkeeper in Kasper Schmeichel. Keep an eye out on Denmark. They've been on a good run of form over the last couple of years. Kieran, what about you?
My surprise team is going to be Sweden. We had them losing to Croatia in the round of 16. I personally see them winning that match. They have Forsberg, Larson, and Alexander Isak, 3 good young players. They also have veteran leadership. They had a pretty easy group stage. We had them taking 2 behind Spain. Again, they could very easily win that group, especially with Spain's injury issues. So I see Sweden a very, very good draw for them. They have both young players, veteran leadership. I like Sweden.
And I'm
going to be taking Turkey here. Their schedule isn't too bad. They are a solid team. And not to mention, I just talked about they have Burak Yilmaz, a solid player right now at the age of 36, who is also going to be a breakout player in this tournament. I think so, at least.
Yeah,
so,
they got a lot of players off of that Lille team, and Celik, Yazici, and Yilmaz, along with a couple other solid players, and they've been in a good run of form. That is a good prediction. With that being said, thank you so much for watching today's episode of the Big Three Sports Talk Show and our Euro preview. For Kieran Costa, and Ion Shaw, I've been Nate Martin. You've been watching the Big Three Sports Talk Show. we'll see you next week. We'll be talking some more about the Euros, the NBA, and giving a little preview of some other things. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Cool. I'll send it to you, Ion.
Still recording, buddy.
Oh, it's still recording.